What's up, guys? Lead meteorologist Sean Triquette here, doing a little forecast update here from the producer desk. We're going to jump right into it to what's happening right now across the country within our forecast here. So, current conditions, we have a couple severe storms down in Florida. We actually had a handful of storms in and around the Everglades, not so much in the Miami area, but we have those storms happening right now, primarily over the Everglades. More interestingly, as we jump on over to north central Texas, we do have some storms ongoing here across sections of north central Texas. Looks like the severe thunderstorm warning, we have just one to the south of Wichita Falls. Otherwise, a lot of rain in Oklahoma. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect just to the west of the Metroplex. And notice there are a lot of clear skies here across a lot of the, let's see, I think I can draw, right? Yeah, we got lots of clear skies here across the area west of Dallas, some bubbling cumulus clouds, all that jazz. So looks like we could see some storms forming up in the next couple of hours across Texas, and we're going to be keeping a close eye here on whether or not they are going to actually meander their way over to the Metroplex this evening. Temperatures are warm. It's 78 degrees in Dallas, and the dew points are getting up there as well. We're getting up into the low 60s, and that is setting the stage for some severe weather coming up here this evening. So we're jumping right into that future radar, jumping to 7 p.m., and I have it zoomed in on Dallas here, if you guys can see. And notice we have a couple storms just off to the north here in the by the Wichita Falls area. And we push it forward a little bit. Looks like things, as we get to about 10 p.m., notice we have some storms just to the west of Dallas-Fort Worth. Now, the big thing, again, to note is look how we have some more isolated storms here instead of the line of activity, along with some possible storms here as well. So with that, as we get to that 10 o'clock hour this evening, the big question mark, and I think we've been watching all day with the model trends, is how isolated are these storms going to be as they get towards Dallas? The general trend has been they're pulling into the western parts of the Metroplex, so Tarrant County, Denton County, as at least somewhat isolated storms. Now that can help promote some more hail growth here across the western sections of the Metroplex. So I think it's safe to say that we may be upping that potential for hail here. Again, this is going to be later on this evening, so your dinner time hour, everything's going to be quiet across Dallas, but eventually these storms will form and then move through the Metroplex. Notice by about 11 o'clock, we have storms here, and they could be a little bit on the more isolated side. So this doesn't look super crazy here, but you notice that this does seem to be a supercell kind of embedded within the complex itself. And if that is the case, and what has been showing up on the models quite a bit, then we could actually have a fair bit of hail with it, all things considered. So I don't think we'll see baseballs tonight by any means, but it's very possible that we could end up actually getting some more hail than what may have been possible earlier this evening, or earlier today when we had the forecast happening at noon. By the time we move to midnight, you'll notice things really do become a line across most of the Dallas area. So again, as you get into Dallas County, into Rockwall County, getting towards Sulphur Springs, yeah, more of a wind threat will begin to evolve and less of a hail threat. But down here by Claiborne, that is going to be your additional potential of that tail end Charlie, we like to call that isolated storm, where you could have some big hail by the Claiborne area down towards Corsicana as this continues to move off to the south and east through the evening. We'll keep pushing it forward here to about 1 o'clock in the morning, and things will be done in Dallas-Fort Worth. All these storms, all this activity you guys are seeing off by Weatherford and Fort Worth, that is not going to be any severe weather. That is just going to be showers behind the complex. And as we keep pushing off to about 2:30 in the morning, this line is racing off to the east towards Shreveport, where there is the potential for some very intense winds from about Texarkana down towards Shreveport, with winds in excess of 70, 80 miles an hour, possibly some embedded tornadoes. And over here by the Shreveport area. Notice there's a chance for some isolated storms that could form as well, and those could also have that potential for some larger hail. Now the chances for that are much lower. I could see potentially we could have some hail up to that golf ball 2-inch size if anything stays isolated for long enough and can sustain itself, but more likely than not that hail size will be much smaller, much more conditional threat here for the Shreveport area. And this is late at night. Now it's 2:30 in the morning Central Time, so that's gonna be late as crap. So we're gonna jump ahead now to about 4:30, 5:30 in the morning, and notice I've shifted everything to the east. Everything has raced towards Jackson. This will be a pretty potent squall line, pretty likely some very strong winds with it, again up to maybe 80 miles an hour, especially if this can really start going on the move here, and that could bring some pretty intense winds across the northern section of the I-20 corridor here in Louisiana and into Jackson, Mississippi as we get towards daybreak tomorrow morning. That's going to be setting the stage for your Tuesday forecast. So as we get beyond, obviously things transition into Mississippi and into the Alabama area as well. So that's what we're looking at for that future radar, the most recent radar updates here. So what does that change for our hail forecast for this evening? Well, there's some minor changes you guys will see just in a second. Obviously Miami, this will be over by about 8 p.m. Eastern time. Again, more lingering storms could have some of that quarter size hail, what we saw earlier today, but mostly looking in here, we have, notice I have shifted the risk for that up to golf ball size hail into Tarrant County and into Denton County, where if storms stay isolated, there is a better chance of seeing some bigger hail with it. So again, if things turn into a squall line west of the Metroplex very quickly, then yeah, chances are we will not see too much in the way of big hail, and that continued quarter to $half size threat will be maintained. But looking at what we've been seeing all day, this is a trend we've been seeing since this morning. There could be some more isolated storms that would tend to favor golf ball size hail in Tarrant County and Denton County. Again, Dallas, Plano, McKinney, I do not think you guys are going to see really big hail barring some kind of crazy circumstance, but areas to the west, the western half of the Metroplex, right around I-35 west, that is where you have that better chance of seeing bigger hail. Now, of course, if we have any sort of crazy activity, we'll be here, we'll do live coverage, and we're going to try to keep update on our Facebook and Instagram stories of what we're seeing on the radar and everything as well, so we can kind of keep you guys in the loop through this evening as storms are possible here. So other things of note that we've changed here, Wichita Falls, your chances have gone down significantly. It is currently raining quite a bit in the Wichita Falls area, so that's going to kill your hail chances with that. And if I move down to the south a bit, St. Angelo as well, it looks like everything is starting to shift east of you as well, so low chances across the board. Everywhere in the red, you could have up to that tennis ball size hail, and barring something crazy happening later on, that could possibly shift a little further east, a little further west, dependent upon how things evolve through this evening as we get closer to initiation. And we could also get some storms all the way down here by Del Rio with some probably big time hailers, but I think once the sun goes down, they're going to have a hard time making that journey to San Antonio, so a low end chance there. Zooming out across everywhere else, I got that moderate chance continued across Shreveport. This is a conditional risk. You could see some bigger hail possible. Let's see, can I draw on this? Yeah, I can. Something like, probably like this. Any sort of isolated storms that form in the area I just drew, that could possibly have bigger hail than $half. Again, extremely conditional of a storm or two racing out ahead of the line. That could be bigger hail, but chances are I'm sticking to that quarter to $half size hail, moderate chance across Shreveport. The low chance for Jackson. I think you guys are going to see much stronger winds with this than anything else, and that is going to bring us into Tuesday. So that's where the risk ends in Mississippi. Finally, city forecast here for Dallas-Fort Worth. I've made, again, some minor changes. So Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex as early as 10 p.m., moving into the western sections of the Metroplex, so Fort Worth and Denton. Max hail size, that's going to be, again, focused to the west. Golf ball size hail is your maximum hail size I think we could see potentially in Dallas Fort Worth tonight. So this would be Denton, this could be Fort Worth, not so much Dallas itself, Plano, McKinney, areas to the east, no, areas to the west, possibly. Moderate chance of seeing at least quarters in the Metroplex tonight, and that low chance, again, very a conditional threat, but things have trended a little bit upward from what we've been seeing at the noon hour. And finally, just a quick recap of that wind risk. That wind risk is much more intense than the hail risk overall. Miami, yeah, you guys are winding down. I just didn't cut that out of the forecast. Again, that high chance, very strong winds. That high chance isn't so much for tornadoes and more so for the gusty winds. Again, possibly up to 80 miles an hour from Shreveport to Jackson along the I-20 corridor if things pan out properly. And then Dallas, I think you guys will definitely see gusts in excess of 60 miles an hour, the eastern side of the metro, as everything transitions into a line. Some isolated tornadoes possible, but I think overall we're going to see more in the squall line, quick spin up variety, and less the scary, violent tornadoes. So that's our update here that we have. Keep an eye on our social media platforms, especially on the Facebook and Instagram variety on our stories. I'll try to do little radar updates, little tidbits of information as we see things develop through the evening. Follow us on TikTok. If you followed us on TikTok, we had I did a live earlier this morning, just kind of going over forecast models, and you got to see the forecast before we actually did the video. So good. If you're on the TikTok, go ahead, follow us on there as well. All Hail Tracy's is where to find us. And as always, you can give us a call, 855-334-4245. We're here to help you out all evening, especially if big storms happen. Follow us, you can email us as well, or visit our website. You can message us in the lower hand corner of the screen right on our website. If anything crazy happens tonight, we of course will go live with any kind of storm coverage unless it's crazy late. I'm ready to roll here for any kind of live coverage later on, so do those hail dances, and hopefully we'll be back later on this evening for a big storm across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And if not, we'll see you again tomorrow at 12 p.m. Thanks as always to our sponsors, C3 Group, American Contractor Show, and Merlin Law Group for making this possible. Check them out in the description below. Have a great night, everybody, and hopefully we'll see you later.